Hey, Sari Wild again, take two. Seems to be a theme lately. Okay, so what's the purpose of shitty situations? and wanted to show you my shirt. It's my favorite confrontational pregnancy shirt. If not now, then when? And it kind of goes with this topic today. So I've been in a lot of situations that I would have considered nightmares, and I did in the last 7 months, especially of my pregnancy. And I'm talking to people who are in seemingly even shittier situations. and yet there's a perfection in it. So where would I like to start with this? Well, first I just want to say shit is what makes dirt. Really fertile dirt to grow flowers and food. And probably filter through and become crystals one day after a long time. Beautiful things of the earth. We've really isolated ourselves from our shit. We put it in water, which is weird, and then we flush it to some place where it's dealt with. And yet our soils are suffering and creating low nutrition food. So there's just something to think about since we're talking about shit. So there's this thing in human design called nodal environments, and it's the stage upon which your life is set to. It's always urging you toward your purpose. And yet it's not you, but it's the beings around you who are always there. They won't let you get off track, basically. And how you encounter your environment, if you're taking on your environment as you and you're trying to get out of your environment, good luck, because it's gonna pursue you with even more intensity and horror. So for instance, one of my nodal environments is the 636. It's crisis and conflict. And so that means that crisis and conflict, being in an environment of crisis and conflict, is something that urges me toward my purpose. It couldn't be more true. And what I've found, and what this topic is about, the purpose of shitty situations, is that the less aware I am of how perfectly everything is actually going for me, the shittier my perspective is of what's actually going on. And it's like it kind of has to turn up to get my attention. So it's like what happens is that we judge things as being bad. Oh, this is bad, this isn't good. And I just had a blank. When we judge things as being bad, it's a lie. All right, I'm just going to switch directions because this thing about the dreaming metaphor is up. It's like, I've heard Course in Miracles teachers talk about this, that it's like spirit is just like gently like whispering to you who you are to wake you up. It's just like, wake up, it's, that bad dream isn't real. Or you're looking at it all wrong, and it's like gently just like, wake up, wake up. What I think is happening right now with shitty situations, because we're having this like collective imperative to wake up, and we're all like really desiring to be ourselves more than we have ever. That like when someone's having a really bad dream, like just going, hey, wake up, it's all a dream. It doesn't necessarily work. Sometimes you have to be like, wake the fuck up. And so, okay, I think this is bringing me back around to the, what we're judging as bad. So it's like really, it's just spirit, or whatever you want to call it, who you are, purpose, God, just trying to get your attention to wake up and be open to what's really going on or what's really possible. And yet when we judge it as bad, we're trying to get away from it. And so it turns up. So any shitty situation, any situation you're judging as shitty, I offer you this perspective from Rob Bresney. He's my favorite astrologer. His column is called Free Will Astrology, and he has an amazing book called Pronoia. And what pronoia is it's the conviction that everyone, everything is conspiring to make you happy. And so when you find yourself in a situation that you're judging as shitty, here's the flip to go, aha, I knew it. You're urging me toward my purpose. This isn't at all what it seems. Also known as coyote medicine, trickster. I have quite a bit of that going on in my life, and I've come to really appreciate that because, sometimes, if those shitty situations aren't getting through to us, it's like Spirit's got to get tricky with us and kind of trick us into being who we are. So, yeah. I see a couple people in here, Rick and Doodoo. Is that how you say your name? I've been seeing you around online. Lovely to see you. Being Sunday morning, it's not like Facebook prime time, but this was up. I think I put hashtag gratitude in there. I don't know, this was my second one, but so I keep coming to this place that my mind is just like in awe of, which is gratitude for the things that I had judged were really, really shitty in the past. And that's because it's like it brings me exactly to where I need to be. One personal example here is shortly after I conceived this babe that's in my very full womb right now, baby daddy and I got in an argument that ended in me leaving. And we were out on a remote mountain, and I felt so called to just leave. And I ended up camping in this other remote place a couple hours away for 4 days by myself. And what I realized was that I needed to be there. And talk about coyote medicine. It was like, I don't know how else I could have, like, from the perspective I was in at the time, just gone and done that without, inviting him along or needing permission from someone or even permission from myself. It just felt like the only thing to do, and it was. And so, gratitude for having ended up in the right place for me, because I ended up doing 4 days of ceremony alone. There were people floating down this river. I was camping right next to the river. In fact, the background picture on my profile is of my campfire in the river where I was. And it was a really profound rendezvous with my own heart and soul and that of my baby too. So yeah, you just never know. And yet when I left, it was just like the worst thing. It felt so icky, and I was really judging it as being really, really bad. But I was eventually grateful because, yeah, that was kind of the only way to get my ass to where I was and to really surrender to this amazing flow that happened. I mean, I ended up at this locked gate. I wanted to go up this road, and like right when I got there, these two young guys came by on an ATV, and they had the key to it, and they let me in. And and then I ended up paying one of those guys $50 to come and unlock it for me in 4 days to let me out. It was really wild. So yeah, and then I just want to close with a couple of tools to bring yourself back when you find yourself. It's really in the fire. Like you think of that was one of the hashtags that I left out, was like fire walk. Maybe I'll add it back in. But so you're in the shit and you're judging it as shit and starting to go there. Oh, this is bad. And if you can just bring in that thread of pronoia that like, whoa, this is actually urging me toward my purpose. Anything to just kind of sparkle you up a little bit or get some humor or shift your perspective. So one of the things that I bought for myself with some Christmas money is these bells. And this has to do with embodiment too, because it's like what's really happening first is like a sensation in the body, and by the time the mind starts making up all these stories about it, it's like already happening. So the mind thinks that saw it first, but it didn't. First it was in the body, and it's how we're judging the body that's causing like the suffering and the just resisting our flow, which, you know, eventually there is no resisting your own spirit. It's just about whether you want to go through how many more times you need to judge your life and your environment as shitty before you just go with it and find out how amazing that is. So anyway, these little bells, they just call me back. They feel good. Like I can feel the vibration in my cells. And just bring a little sparkle in, a little lightening up, a little shift in perspective, to start to just wonder how this could all be working out really well. So that's one tool. And then the other one is kind of what I just said is, to ask some questions that are, I could have some really good answers to them. Like, what if this is urging me to my purpose? What if this is perfect, beyond what I could even imagine? What would it take for me to appreciate where I am and see the truth of how this is urging me to, the life I've always dreamed of and beyond. So you can start to address the mind with some of those things, and they're not questions to ask so that you answer them. The point is that they are being answered. The point is to shift your perspective and to feel into the energy of that answer, which is beyond words and beyond thought. So, yeah. Hey, Megan Marie! Girlfriend, how are you? So good to see you. Well, any thoughts on this, anyone? I'm probably going to hop off and go do some coffee shop work and go to yoga here in a little bit. Yeah, if you came on later too, I had talked literally in the beginning about shit, like poop, and how it's how fertile it is, and how separate we've made it from life. And so I'm very passionate about composting. I'm living in an apartment right now, and I've been stocking my perfect. I think I'm gonna get bokashi composters, composting my own poop at this point is a little difficult, but I really think that's what we should be doing, you guys. Like, it's ridiculous to like put poop in drinking water and then flush it off to some place to all squish together, and I don't know. Like, we should be putting it back into the dirt. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. And then, I want to say too, because I'm talking about shitty situations today, and I've encountered a lot, and I'm talking to people who are encountering ones that even seem to be worse than mine. That like, I've moved 3 times during my pregnancy, which was like a total horror for me. Like, I thought I needed to be like in the same place, all grounded, snuggled up with baby daddy, all these things that I thought I needed and wanted to bring this being in are like have not happened. And so it's just like scrubbed me fucking clean to the truth of who I am, and I'm so grateful for it. And the other day I was meeting with some doulas here in Redding, and one of them said, how attached are you to living in Redding? And I was like, 0. And she had some ideas for places I could live nearby that were really, would be really aligned with me. And I was like, I don't know if I could move again. Like, before I birthed, like, that might be too much. And that might be true. But then I also had this kind of little, and then again, maybe I can. Because it's like, has this whole shimmy this whole time been to get me to this one spot where there's like a teepee and a clawfoot tub? I don't know. I'm just along for the ride. So, but I do know that if I'm judging it as bad or shitty, whatever's happening, and I do know about my spirit that if I am settling, that those shit shows start to really show up to wake me up. That, yeah, I don't know. It's a wild ride. That's why I named myself that. Okay, well, if you have any thoughts about this or any examples of your own, or if you're noticing this going on, like, we're just getting wake-up calls, y'all, and they're loving, and they're urging us to be who we are and to wake up from the illusion that anything's wrong with us or the world. And what if that is true? All right, I love you. Bye.